Hey, how's it going? It's Tuesday, April 16, and wow, I just cannot believe how casually Sony has literally just spilled the beans on its own next-gen hardware, PlayStation 5. We gotta talk about this, people. Welcome back to FOXY Games UK. I'm Fox, your reliable source of aggregated video game news, speculation, and rampant rumour. No time to waste in today's video. So I was in a live stream with Ryan over at BitCloud Gaming, RGT podcast, when this bombshell dropped. I really found it hard to believe at first, and not the specs, no, since they line up with pretty much what I and many others been sharing with you all this time. No, I didn't believe it because of the nonchalance and utterly random way in which PS4 and PS5 lead architect Mark Cerny has discussed some of the PS5's details. Source via an interview featured in a Wired.com article. Let's dive in. Exclusive, what to expect from Sony's next-gen PlayStation. Mark Cerny would like to get one thing out of the way right now. The video game console that Sony has spent the last 4 years building, it's no mere upgrade. You have a good reason for thinking otherwise, but Sony and Microsoft both extended the current console generation via a mid-cycle refresh, as we know, with the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 spawning mini sequels. That's the S and the X and the Pro. Now the key question, Sony says, is whether the console adds another layer to the sorts of experiences you have already access to, or if it allows for fundamental changes in what a game can be. Now the answer in this case is the latter. It's why we're sitting here secreted away in a conference room at Sony's headquarters in Foster City, California, where Mark Cerny is finally detailing the inner workings of the as yet unnamed console that will replace the PS4. Now, if history is any guide, it will eventually be dubbed PlayStation 5, but for now Cerny responds to the question and many others with an enigmatic smile. He calls it the next gen console, as he refers to it repeatedly, and it won't be landing in stores anytime in 2019. A number of studios have been working with it, though. Sony recently accelerated its deployment of dev kits so that game creators will have time they need really to adjust to its capabilities. As he did with PS4, Sony acted as lead system architect for the coming system, integrating developers' wishes and his own gaming hopes really into something that's more revolution than evolution. For the more than 90 million people who own PS4s, this is good news indeed. Sony's got a brand new box. A true generation shift tends to include a few fundamental adjustments. Now, a console CPU and GPU become more powerful, of course, able to deliver previously unattainable graphical fidelity and visual effects. System memory increases in size and speed, and game files grow to match, necessitating larger downloads or higher capacity physical media type discs. Now, PlayStation's next generation console ticks all of those boxes, starting with an AMD chip at the heart of the device. Now, the CPU is based on the third generation of AMD's Ryzen line and contains 8 cores of the company's new 7nm Zen 2 microarchitecture. The GPU, a custom variant of Radeon's Navi family, will support ray tracing, a technique that models the travel of light to simulate complex interactions in 3D environments. While ray tracing is a staple of Hollywood visual effects and is beginning to worm its way into $10,000 high-end processors, no game console has yet been managed to fit it in yet. But ray tracing's immediate benefits are largely visual, because it mimics the way light bounces from object to scene. Reflective surfaces, refractions through glass or liquid can be rendered far more accurately, even in real time, leading to heightened realism. According to Cerny, the applications go beyond graphical implications. Here's a quote: "If you want to run tests to see if the player can hear certain audio sources or if the enemies can hear the player's footsteps, ray tracing is useful for that." He says it's all the same thing as taking a ray through the environment. Now, the AMD chip also includes a custom unit for 3D audio that Sony thinks will redefine what sound really can do in a video game. Now, as a gamer, he says it's been a little bit of a frustration that audio did not change too much between PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. With the next console, the dream is to show how dramatically the different audio experience can be when applied significant sounds and hardware and horsepower really to do justice to it. The result, Sony says, will make you feel more immersed in the game as sounds come at you from above, from behind, and from the side. While the effect will require no external hardware, it will work through TV speakers and visual surround sound. He really allows that the gold standard will be headphone audio. Now, one of the words Cerny uses to describe the audio may be familiar to those who follow virtual reality. That feeling of existing inside a simulated environment. When he mentioned it, he was asked about PlayStation VR, the peripheral system that sold more than 4.2 million units since its 2016 release. So when Wired.com during the interview specifically asked Cerny if next-gen PlayStation VR would go alongside the PS5, Cerny replied, "I won't go into details of our VR strategy today, beyond saying that VR is very important to us and that the current PlayStation VR headset is compatible with the new console." So there you go, he's answered it in a nutshell. So, new CPU, new GPU, the ability to deliver incredible visuals and audio effects in a game, and maybe a PlayStation VR sequel at some point. That's all great, but there's something else that excites Cerny even more, something he calls a true game changer, something that more than anything else is the key to the next generation, and it's the hard drive. The larger a game gets, last year's Red Dead Redemption 2 clocked in at a horse-choking 99 gigabytes for the PS4, the longer it takes to do just about everything. Now, loading screens can last minutes while games really pull the data it needs from the hard drive. Same goes for fast travel when characters transport between far-flung points within a game world. Even open a door really can take a minute depending on what's on the other side and how much more data the game needs to load. Starting in the fall of 2015, when Sony first began talking to developers about what they want from the next generation, he heard it time and time again. "I know it's impossible, but can we have an SSD drive?" Solid state drives have been available in budget laptops for more than a decade, and the Xbox One and PS4 both offer external SSDs that claim to improve load times, but not all SSDs are created alike. As Sony points out, I have an SSD in my laptop. When I want to change from Excel to Word, I have to wait 15 seconds. What's built into Sony's next-gen console is something a little bit more specialized. To demonstrate, Sony fires up a PS4 Pro playing Spider-Man, a 2018 PS4 exclusive that he worked on alongside Insomniac Games. He's not just a systems architect. Cerny creates arcade classic games like Marble Madness when he was 19 and was heavily involved with PlayStation PS2 franchises like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon and Ratchet & Clank. Now on the TV, Spidey stands in a small plaza. Cerny presses a button on the controller, initiating a fast travel screen. When Spidey reappears in a totally different spot in Manhattan, 15 seconds had elapsed. Then Cerny does the same thing on a next-gen dev kit connected to a different TV. The dev kit, an early low-speed version, is concealed in a big silver tower with no visible componentry. What took 15 seconds on the PS4 Pro now takes less than 0.8 seconds to be exact. That's less than 1 second, and that's just one consequence of an SSD. There's also the speed with which a world can be rendered, and thus the speed with which a character can move through that world. Cerny runs a similar two-console demonstration, this time with the camera moving up one of Midtown's avenues. One of the original PS4, the camera moves at around the speed Spidey hits while web swinging. No matter how powered up you get as Spider-Man, you can never go faster than this. Now, because that's simply how fast we can get the data off the hard drive. Now on the next gen console dev kit, the camera speeds uptown like it's mounted to a jet fighter. Periodically, Cerny pauses the action to prove that the surrounding environment remains perfectly crisp, while the next gen console will support 8K graphics. 8K graphics. TVs that deliver it are few and far between, so we're using a 4K TV for the demonstration. Now, what other incredible things developers will be able to do is a question Mark Cerny can't answer just yet, because those developers are still figuring it all out. But he sees the SSD as unlocking an entirely new age, one that upends the very tropes that have become the bedrock of gaming. Here's a quote: "We're very used to flying logos at the start of the game and graphic-heavy selection screens, even things like multiplayer lobbies and intentionally detailed loadout process, because you don't want players just to be waiting, so in effect they're hiding the loading." Now at the moment, Sony won't cop to exact details about the SSD, who makes it, whether it utilizes the new PCIe 4.0 standard, but Cerny claims that it has a raw bandwidth higher than the SSD available for PCs. And that's not all. The raw read speed is important, Cerny says, but so are the details of the I/O, that's the input and output mechanisms, and the software stack that they put on top of them. Now, you got a PlayStation 4 Pro, then you put in an SSD that costs as much as the PlayStation 4 Pro, and it might be, say, 1/3 faster, as opposed to 19 times faster for the next-gen consoles, judging from the fast travel demo. And as you've noticed, this is all hardware talk. Sony isn't really ready to chat about services and other features, let alone games and price, and neither is anyone at Sony. Nor will you hear much about the console at E3 in June. For the first time, Sony won't be holding a keynote at the annual game show, but a few more things come out during the course of the interview. For example, the next-gen console will still accept physical media. Yes, and it won't be a download-only machine because it's really based in part on the PS4's architecture. It will also be backwards compatible with games for that console, just like I've been telling you guys forever. As in many of the other generation transitions, this will be a gentle one, with numerous new games being released for both PS4 and the next-gen console. Where exactly Hideo Kojima's forthcoming title Death Stranding fits in that process is still unconfirmed. Now, when asked, the spokesperson in the room repeated that the game will be released for PS4, but Cerny's smile and pregnant pause invite speculation that it will in fact be a two-platform release. So as I said, they're going to do that transition thing, still support PS4, but it won't get specifically PS5 exclusives, only the sort of the throwovers that tend to transition into the next gen, as I said. Now, what gaming will look like in a year or two, let alone 10, is a matter of some debate. Battle Royale games have reshaped multiplayer experiences. Augmented reality marries the fantastic and real in many ways, but Google is leading a charge away from traditional consoles by launching a cloud-based service, Stadia. Later this year, Microsoft's next version of the Xbox will presumably integrate cloud gaming as well to allow people to really play Xbox games on multiple devices. Now, Sony's plans in this regard are still unclear. It's one of the many things Cerny is keeping mum on, saying that really we are cloud gaming pioneers and our vision should become clear as we head toward the launch. But it's hard to think there won't be more news coming on that front. For now though, there's the living room. It's where the PlayStation has sat through 4 generations and will continue to sit at least 1 generation more. And that's really a lot to take in, isn't it? I know it's a lot of information, totally unexpected on a random Tuesday in April. Wow. But here's a quick summary. So, PS5. A lot of this is going to tie into the stuff I've been telling you and other people have been telling you. So anyone that really doubted, the likes of myself and others, really have egg on their face now. But the CPU is an 8-core AMD Ryzen-based 7nm Zen 2, which we already mentioned. GPU, again already mentioned, Radeon Navi based. Has ray tracing, which I've been saying, but people wanted to discredit it. But yes, some form of rudimentary ray tracing. It does support 8K, something I didn't really believe too much. I mean, 8K, yeah, checkerboarding, but apparently this supports 8K resolution in some form or the other. Backwards compatibility, which I guarantee to you, PS4 at least. So we don't know about PS2, PS3, even PS1 games. Supports physical media, always a good thing, and has an SSD drive, giving the example Spider-Man fast travel load reduced from 15 seconds again to 0.8 seconds. Wow, I'm totally shocked, absolutely shocked. Like I said, I was in a live stream with Ryan and he was telling me all about this while we were talking in the live stream and the live chat were kicking off, and I just didn't believe it. I said, this is so uncharacteristically not Sony. They don't tend to share details this way. This is like a slow trickle out. Now, thankfully, having read the entire article, they haven't let too much out of the bag. They haven't told you much more than what I've told you already or others have told you already. So it really isn't as much of a spoiler as I thought it would be. So they still can do a fanfare. They can still surprise us at a reveal date, whether that be the PlayStation Experience at the end of the year or something far sooner. But the fact that Mark Cerny is now talking about this publicly in an interview with a magazine for an article tells you that PlayStation 5 is literally not that far away, especially in terms of a reveal. So I'm expecting something big to happen. Maybe before the end of summer. But if not, we're certainly going to see form factor, pricing, details and strategy at the end of the year at PSX. It makes sense. Wow, this is something, isn't it, people? Amazing. Let me know your thoughts on all of this unexpected news. I'm still waiting on my go-tos to come back to me. I sent an email already to verify this, but to be honest, I don't think it needs verifying anyway, but I still want to touch base with them because Dr. Lisa Su of AMD has retweeted the Wired article, as has Sony PlayStation, officially tweeted the article, so there has to be substance to it. Mark Cerny himself, the architect of the PlayStation 4 and 5, well, his name's all over the article, so there's no doubt at all. What say you? But anyway, let me know your thoughts. Sound off, share your thoughts and opinions on today's news, because that unfortunately brings us to the end of another video. But let's continue the discussion in the comments, and I cannot wait to see what Microsoft do tonight during Inside Xbox. What are they going to talk about? Are they going to respond to this? Are they going to share something with us? It's getting interesting, people. Very interesting. But yeah, for sure, let's continue the discussion in the comments. And for all your current and next-gen news updates, rumor and rampant speculation, hit the like button, spread the word, and keep it locked to FOXY Games UK. I can't believe I held it together making this video, because wow. Remember, relevant links where applicable can be found in this video's description. Go ahead and subscribe to FOXY Games UK. Remember to hit the notification bell so you never miss content. Thumbs up if you like it here. Help us reach more like-minded gamers simply by sharing the video. Consider supporting FOXY Games UK via Patreon, and or grab yourself a FOXY UK branded t-shirt or hoodie, available now in various colors and designs. You'll find both links in the video description. Truly appreciate the support. Now, this is absolutely insane, and I cannot wait to give you some more details, go into it a bit further based on the information that comes back to me. But wow, I am utterly surprised. But that concludes our time together today. Deep breath. It was great hanging out. Until the next video, remember, play games, not corporations. PlayStation 5!